What's up, Headless Horde? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be breaking down the top 10 of the most devious and evil characters in the Game of Thrones universe. I dropped part 1 of the series just a couple days ago, and I will link that up above for you and also down in the description. Today we are going through the top 5 of the most devious characters. And also, guys, don't forget, subscribe if you're new. Smash that like button, and let's get right into this thing. Starting off today, number 5, Larys Strong. Devious actions. So Larys Strong is an interesting character because, again, we've only seen him in the universe for 10 episodes. But I can see a point in the future that this guy could definitely be in the top 3. Espionage and intrigue. Larys excels in gathering and using information to manipulate others. You can see that his relationship with Alicent is so dangerous, and he's always feeding her all the little tidbits that she can never figure out herself. I think Larys knows exactly what Otto is up to, and I think that this is going to make things very interesting as we head to the second part of Season 2. Murder and coercion. Larys is willing to commit murder and other crimes to achieve his goals. We see this back in season number 1 when he kills his brother and his father, and it's mostly because of his ability to see what is upcoming with the civil war of the Targaryens, and he feels that if he can take on the title of Lord of Harrenhal, he also does this to please Queen Alicent because he wants to be part of the reason why Otto Hightower gets removed from his position as Hand of the King. This will allow Larys to become closer to Alicent, and the closer he is, the more control of her he can have. Larys' motivations are driven by a combination of his personal ambition and a desire to influence those around him. His deviantness is characterized by a mix of intelligence gathering and ruthless action to get what he wants. Number 4. Peter Baelish, better known as Littlefinger. Political scheming. Littlefinger is a master manipulator, orchestrating complex plots to advance his position. In this scene with Cersei Lannister, you can see that he explains that not all people are able to be born into relevant houses, and sometimes you have to make your own way.
The Mockingbird. You created your own sigil, didn't you?
Yes.
Appropriate for a self-made man with so many songs to sing.
Some people are fortunate enough to be born into the right family. Others have to find their own way. Prominent families often forget a simple truth. I've found.
And which truth is that?
Knowledge is power.
Littlefinger explains that knowledge is power for him. He's not a warrior. He is not some fantastic swordsman. He is driven by an insatiable ambition for power and influence. His deviantness is marked by his ability to manipulate nearly everyone around him, often with a long-term strategic vision. Now, in this scene, Cersei does get the upper hand on him, but it is his ability to play both sides. He is like a chess player, always willing to sacrifice just for his better good. Being the master of coin, Littlefinger is also able to control the financial resources to influence events and gain even more power. He'll betray allies. He'll arrange murders. Basically, he'll turn on anyone as long as it means his survival. Number 3, Aemond Targaryen. Aemond is ambitious and ruthless. He's driven by a fierce ambition and a willingness to engage in brutal acts to assert his dominance. Aemond uses his physical prowess and his dragon Vhagar to intimidate and control others. Although we don't know 100% if Aemond meant to kill Lucerys, he definitely plays it off like it was all his idea. And this is one of the big stepping stones of what creates the civil war for the Targaryens. In the books, Aemond is known as a Kingslayer. I find it interesting that in the series thus far, he is not really known as a Kingslayer. And I think part of this is the ability of the Hightowers to hide that. Because what we see them do in Jaehaerys' funeral is make Rhaenyra look like she is the bad one and she is the one who is starting the war, almost forgetting what Aemond did. Aemond is motivated for a desire of power, recognition, and revenge against those who he perceives as threats to his status or his family. Number 2, Joffrey Baratheon. Joffrey displays extreme cruelty, enjoying the suffering of others. He orders the execution of Ned Stark, mistreats Sansa Stark, and delights in causing pain to many others. His actions are often impulsive and driven by a desire to exert his power and instill fear rather than any calculated political strategy. He is the typical spoiled brat who believes he can do whatever he wants because of the family that he was born into. Joffrey's actions are driven by a combination of insecurity, a need for control, and inherent sadism. His deviance is more about inflicting pain and asserting his dominance. We've seen this over and over again, starting with his uncle, Tyrion, and what happens at his wedding. Now, granted, he gets what is coming to him, but that entire episode shows how awful he is. We see him at the beginning of season 2 torturing the poor jester. It goes on, and Joffrey Baratheon was the original bad guy in the Game of Thrones universe. Number 1, Ramsay Bolton. Just when we thought we couldn't get anyone who was more awful than Joffrey, enter Ramsay. We first meet Ramsay when he is trying to pretend that he was going to rescue Theon Greyjoy. Now, granted, at this point in the story, we have no love for Theon because of what he did to House Stark. Torture and sadism. Ramsay isn't famous for his gruesome torture methods, including flaying his enemies alive. His treatment of Theon, whom he transforms into reek, is probably the prime example of his sadistic nature. Thanks to Littlefinger, he takes Sansa Stark as his wife and treats her absolutely awful. He degrades her and ends up raping her on their wedding night. Not only does he kill his father Roose in cold blood, he takes it upon himself to kill his baby brother, who technically would have the right to House Bolton, because remember, Ramsay is a bastard and is a Snow. Ramsay uses psychological manipulation to break his victims' mental and physical capacities. He is adept at deceit, often luring his enemies into traps with promises of mercy or negotiations. And we clearly see this in the episode titled The Battle of the Bastards, when he takes out Rickon Stark. Political ruthlessness. He is willing to commit atrocities to secure his power, including murdering his family members to solidify his claim as heir to the Bolton legacy. Ramsay's actions are driven by a combination of sadism, a desire for power, and a need to prove himself as a legitimate heir despite his illegitimate birth. His cruelty serves both his personal enjoyment and his political ambitions. This is why Ramsay Bolton is the number 1 evil and devious character in the Game of Thrones universe. Let me know down in the comments, who do you think is the number 1 character that should be on this list? Or do you agree with me that it should be Ramsay? Thank you so much for watching this 2-part series. Again, guys, if you did not check out part 1, the link is in the description down below. Don't forget, smash that like on the way out of here. I will be live on Sunday at 10:15 p.m. Eastern, breaking down episode 3 of House of the Dragon. Don't forget, keep those heads on, and I'll see you guys in the next video.